People who have hired a private investigator. What did you find out? 1. I was a private investigator for a little bit. Most work pies do is searching financial/court records and serving documents. But one time I was paid by wealthy parents to stake out their college senior who had stopped returning their calls. They were worried about her. These parents paid like $40,000 for round-the-clock monitoring just to find out their daughter dropped out of school and was a full-time ski bum. 2. My sister, mid-30s, is adopted and hired to find her estranged biological father. They came back saying that not only was he still alive and nearby, but he had a daughter, meaning she also had a biological sibling. Further digging from the pie uncovered that they weren't just similar ages either. They were exactly the same age. The evidence suggested that my sister had a twin and her birth father had taken the twin and vanished. Huge, life-changing news. Eventually, through more incredible detective work, the pie realized that the daughter was actually just my sister. There was no other sibling and they had just been investigating my sister the whole time accidentally. Needless to say, we asked for the money back. 3. I had a girlfriend that worked for one for a while. She said that the majority of their work was insurance scams. She took a lot of pictures of guys who said they were hurt on the job playing golf and surfing and such. 4. Not me, but a friend hired one because he was suspicious his stepdad was being unfaithful to his mom. So, he asked me, and I put him in contact with a guy I knew. At 15, when my friend's mom and stepdad started dating, my friend gave the typical "you hurt her, you're dead" speech. Also, his bio dad walked out on him and his sister when my friend was like 4. It took a while, but my friend warmed up to the guy and he's a good guy. Anyways, the pie said he wasn't cheating. Apparently there was a house on the market that my friend's mom wanted, and he bought it. He had been remodeling it for some time and he kept it a secret. As a 5-year anniversary gift to her, he bought it. Anyways, they live in a 5-bed house. 5. My story is a little different. I had a pie investigate me. About 6 years ago I became very ill with a variety of issues that left me really quite poorly. I was an optician and so using my hands with arthritis was just never going to be a plan. So I applied for UK disability support. I sailed through and started receiving a monthly amount. Now, fast forward a few years, I then start getting restless at home so I retrain into a job that doesn't involve my hands. I stop receiving money, except for the benefit you can get while you work. I use it for paying a better automatic car off. Well, my very nasty mother's friend saw me start work and called the benefits office, assuming I was still claiming. Unfortunately, she exaggerated and told them I was living a normal life and even running daily. So the benefits office filmed and watched me. They thought they had an aha, gotcha moment. Their pie provided photos of me walking unaided. When I sat in the meeting, with a lot of smug fraud officers and my solicitor, I felt sick to my stomach. I really couldn't work out what the F was going on. They were trying to make it look like I had been running and jogging, but I knew I walked never any further than 5 meters to my car. Anyway, the solicitor pointed out the photos were screenshots of a video. Asked for the videos. Videos were of me, struggling to walk. One of them I rest on my car before opening my door. Another I was going into a supermarket and had replaced my cane with a trolley to lean on. You get the picture. So, the fraud team basically said oops and I never heard from them again. I spent a lot of my time trying to appear normal and it bit me in the arse. And never trust these fraud TV shows now either. 6. Had a babysitter we thought was stealing from us. Luckily our neighbor was a pie couple and they ran a background check for $10. The babysitter had a string of DUIs and a few days before a large fine was due, my camera disappeared. He also stole money from my kids' piggy banks. He sort of disappeared but was also really into Instagram so I surreptitiously followed him. He started babysitting again for a single mom, easy target, and posted a lot of fun pics with his family. I tracked down the mom and sent her a long email detailing his whole scam. She said we were right and it was clear he'd been stealing from her business. He has since gone underground but I still Google him regularly to see what he's up to. He's been able to avoid arrests for a while now. 7. My parents hired a private investigator to find out who my online boyfriend was when I was 13. The pie came back and told us he was just a fat-ass 13-year-old. 8. My grandmother's first boyfriend after my grandfather died said he was a retired cop and a veteran. They enjoyed dancing to country music together, and bought a new car, in her name though, even though she can't drive anymore. My uncle hired a pie. Turns out, that old bastard had a habit of shacking up with widows and bleeding them dry. 9. My mother's dad walked out on mom, my aunt, and my grandmother when mom was just 5. A few years later, my grandmother died of a grand mal seizure. Mom was taken in by her grandparents, but she always wondered why her dad left and what became of him. In her 40s, she saved up a bit and hired a pie to track him down. Turns out he moved over time from Pittsburgh to California where he wound up in prison for armed robbery and so other violent crimes. He died in San Quentin Penitentiary. I think mom got a lot of closure out of that. She was able to see that life would have most likely been even worse had he stayed. At least living with her grandparents, she was loved and raised to fulfill her potential.